All right, welcome to our Monday night training. Thank you so much for coming on and being here live and taking that time every single week to commit to yourself and your business, but most of all, like yourself and building yourself and your mindset and working on yourself. We have the most incredible leader on tonight. So Sarah and I actually met when we were over in the Gold Coast last year. Teresa also met her as well, but she is probably 17 years in the business, maybe. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. A wealth of knowledge, so much to share with us tonight. And I'm sure I don't have to introduce too much because I would love you to introduce to everyone. There's a lot of new faces in this team as well. So it'd be really cool for you to introduce yourself, Sarah, and then speak your words of wisdom to us. I will
Yeah, of course.
pass it on to you.
Thanks, Em. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to meet you. Hi, Pearl. So nice to see you. Did you come in? Hi, everybody. Lovely to meet you all virtually, hopefully one day in person, and I've met a couple of you in person. And thanks for asking me, Emily, to do this call this morning. So it's 9:30 for me. It's actually sunny in the UK, which is a very rare occurrence. So we're like, the sun's out. It's really exciting for us. But yeah, so what I'll start by doing is telling you a little bit about my story and how I heard about Arbonne, how it all began for me. And then I just want to share with you a few things that have really made my business into the business that it is today. So before I do, I suppose, I'll just give you a background and know that everything that I share with you, hopefully you'll know that it's not to go, look at me, but it's actually to know that the purpose of me doing calls with lots of different people, I always think is the end goal is I want you to think if she can do it, I can do it. Because that's the biggest message that I want to get across to you today. Zoom back to 2008. I don't know where you were, but I just finished dancing professionally. So first thing I want to eliminate from that is people think you must have been so confident to stand on stage and dance in front of lots of people every night. However, dancing for me was a way to not talk to people. I was innately shy, like painfully shy as a kid. Like just looked at the floor, all my photographs as a kid, and me biting my lip like this. I'll demonstrate. It's not a good look, and looking at the floor. And there's no other pictures of me. I'm just so incredibly shy. And then an introvert by nature. I didn't like to talk, even when I went out for dinner with people. I just wanted to be a listener. I love listening to people, but I don't know what it was. It was something obviously that happened in my childhood, but I just wasn't the person that was out there and a talker. However, I loved when I got into dancing, I loved it because it was a way to express myself. I realized now I look back and analyze it. I think it was a way to be really emotive, but I didn't have to talk. So when I started Arbonne in 2008, I'd been in the performing industry for about probably 10 years. And what happened on stage one night, I was in We Will Rock You. It was a Queen musical in the UK. It's quite big over here. And I was air guitaring and I slipped 2 discs in my neck. And that was the end of my career. That was it. It was over. And it just came out of nowhere. Like it was the biggest shock to me because I thought I'm going to do this for at least another 10 years. I was self-employed. So as an answer, you don't get an employed contract, you're self-employed. So basically you get paid for the days that you show up. And when that injury happened, I wasn't employable anymore. So I had no means of income. I didn't do very well at school. I just went to a big, massive school where they just got us through. If you weren't extremely like intelligent or you weren't in trouble, you were the mass middle section that just moved through the school. I don't know if anyone else relates to that. So that was me. I just didn't really, I wasn't very good at school. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't good, but I didn't do any further education. So I went straight to dance college. And I didn't have anything, I'd never known anything else. I didn't know what to do with my life. I thought, I can't do anything else. This is all I can do. So it was a real mess. That summer of 2008, I was living in London in a house share with 4 other dancers. I just paid for a room and a kitchen. We didn't have any other rooms. And I struggled to pay that rent every month. I was on housing benefits from the government. I was living on all the cheapest food that you could afford to buy because my parents didn't have any extra money. Since I don't know if anyone else relates to this, since I've been 18, I've never borrowed a penny from anyone. It's basically me. And I think that's been the greatest gift. And I think that's why I've been so driven to create what I have in Arbonne, because if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Like that was basically always my motto. No one was coming to save me. And I'd really suggest to you, if you've got someone who's always got your back, or it's actually sometimes one of the biggest challenges, because in the back of your mind you always think, oh, someone will bail me out. Whereas if you don't have that option, it gives you a different strength to just think, I'm going to figure this out because I have to. There's not really any other choice. So I do think that's a blessing that I had. Very supportive and loving parents, but they couldn't help financially. So I was moping around in London at that 2008 and thinking, saying to my friend, what am I going to do in my life? I don't know how to do anything. And he said these magical words that changed the trajectory of my life. And I don't know if you remember where you were when you first heard this word Arbonne, but he said to me, I've just heard this company called Arbonne. And little did I know what that would become for me and my life and my family and all my close friends and my entire community, basically. I just thought at the time, do you know what? I've got nothing else to do. I'll go along and hear it. So I went to meet a gentleman called Ian Pritchard, who was a complete stranger at the time. Now he's one of the top income earners in the UK and a good friend. And I listened to him and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I remember hearing him thinking, I can do this. Like, I don't really know what he's talking about, but I feel like I can do it. And if he's willing to take me with him, I'll go. And that was literally my only feelings I got from that meeting. I don't really remember anything about what you had to do or how, but I just remember thinking, wherever this man is going, I have to go with him. He just looked like the epitome of success. And I really want us because I consider all these things now on reflection years and years later, and I think it's so mad that I didn't really understand what he was talking about, but I just want us to go with him. And that is the power of influence. He talked with confidence. He had utter conviction. He was going to create millions from this. He rocked up in a suit. He drove, I mean, at the time he drove a Porsche, and I didn't know anyone that drove a Porsche. He was a property investor. And I was just thinking, who is this guy? Like, I just need to hang around with him because I want to be around people like this. I didn't know people like that in my life. So that is honestly why I jumped straight in. I heard it once and I was all in. And I've honestly can say I have never looked back. And I sometimes say to people, I've definitely had some challenging days because that's business. You have ups and downs, but I can hand on heart swear to you, I have never, ever crossed my mind about quitting this business or leaving, ever, even on the darkest, most challenging days. And there's been some in 17 years. But to me, that's how much I believe in this opportunity and what it can do for others. So we all start for us 100%. We start from what we can create and how we can change our lives. But honestly, you will stay for the transformation in other people that you see. It's absolutely like nothing else you'll ever see. It's just incredible, the opportunity to have that and watch others. So I remember when Stuart, your upline, so Stuart Armfield, who's your national vice president, the way he heard about the business is he moved into we had a spare room in our house. So one of the girls that I lived with was moving out to go on tour, and he moved into the spare room. Sorry, got protein stuck in my throat. He moved into the spare room. And I used to train all my team and say, because I think I was about to go to region, actually, I was an area manager. And I remember saying to all the team, get out of your house. You are never going to meet your next national vice president in your kitchen. And guess where I met Stuart Armfield? In my kitchen. A random stranger that was in my kitchen. I was like, oh, hello. He's like, hey, I've got the spare room upstairs. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And he's like, what do you do then? I was like, oh, let me tell you what I do. I've just got a business. It's amazing. At that point, I was an area manager, so I was just obsessed. By the way, I was working full time at this point. So after I got the injury, sorry, I've skipped forward. I'll come back to Stuart's story in a second. So I started teaching dance at like a secondary school. I got paid full time to do that. I worked more like 120 hours a week. So I taught at a dance school on a weekend, a dance school on a Sunday. I planned lessons on a Sunday afternoon, and I got to national vice president working 120 hours. So I want you to know, no matter how busy you are, yeah, there's definitely going to be less sleep for a little bit. I probably slept a little bit less for a few years, but I didn't care. I was buzzing on life. I loved my job that I did, and I loved doing Arbonne on an evening and the bits of pockets of times that I had around that. So Stuart moved into our house, and this is a really funny story. Yeah, totally. The busier you are, 100%. You've got those minutes, and you've got to make those minutes count. You can build Arbonne in minutes. You really, really can if you plan your time well enough. So Stuart was in the kitchen. I started talking about Arbonne, and I can't remember, but he apparently said this to me. He's like, is it exciting that it's actually going to work? And I spun on my heels outside the front of the fridge, and I said to him, I'm going to be a millionaire from this business. And he was like, you're going to be a millionaire? I was like, yeah. And he's like, I think I want to do it with you. And that was it. But then this is where you've also got to know that things change and happen. A few days later, he came back and he was like, so I'm going to start Herbalife. I've heard of this company called Herbalife. So Stuart Anfield actually did Herbalife for, I think, about 4 or 5 months before he joined my Arbonne business. But when he said he was going to do Herbalife, I didn't go into convincing mode. I was like, good for you, brilliant. If that's the right company for you, go for it. You've got to read this book, this book, this book. And I helped him. And then slowly but surely my team, I had like 3 people in my team probably at that point. They came around, we'd do trainings. And he was like, Arbonne looks so much more fun than Herbalife. He's like, it's good. Can I join you lot instead? I was like, yeah, of course you can. So he joined the table, and then the rest is history. Now turns over $1 million a month in his business every single. So you never know who those people are going to be. And I just want to give you so much excitement, because this is the case with Arbonne. You can feel 1,000,000 miles away from where you want to be, but I promise you, one day can change everything. That day that Stuart Anfield walked into my kitchen changed my business forever. He's a huge leg in my business. So you just never, ever know. So I don't want you to think, oh gosh, it seems so far away region. I want you to say to yourself every single day, today could be the day I meet my first national vice president, because I did that for years. And it will be. One day you'll meet a national vice president. I didn't know that day that Stuart was there, he was going to be an MVP in my business. I didn't know the day that I'm trying to think of where all Mother Nations came from, that I got a message from a girl in Germany who was a friend of a friend who worked over there that said, I've heard of Arbonne, my friend said it's great, can I join your business? She became a nation. So it's all these different people that you just will never ever know, but just be open to it. So that's what happened. I was terrible for the first year. I did 154 one-to-ones, and every single person said no. And that wasn't on Zoom. It was before Zoom existed. So I physically drove to each person. And the UK, we can drive around the country. So sometimes 4-hour trips, sometimes 8-hour trips. I once did an 8-hour round trip to do a one-to-one and came back the next day for school teaching. I was so all in. And I can't tell you how much I am grateful that I was, because you'll never regret the all-inness when you have the rest of your life living like you can because of Arbonne. And that's my reality today. So after those 154 one-to-ones, when lots of people said no, eventually one person said yes, obviously. And then that yes, actually, there was another 7 yeses after that. And 7 came in a row. And that was because those 154, a few of those people, probably six of those people, came back after they'd watched me. And it wasn't because I was earning any money, because I wasn't. So if you ever get that question, how's it going for you? What are you earning now? Don't freak out about that, because all they don't understand is the difference of the 2 ways to earn money. And this is what you have to get so crystal clear on. We get taught and we're programmed, and society tells us to trade time for money as a self-employed person, as an employed person. So your default mode is to think, I work and then I receive money. You have to be okay with working for maybe a few years and not seeing anything in return, but then the rest of your life getting paid for sometimes doing nothing for years on end. You've got so many people in my business that earn huge amounts of money every single month and probably work 5 hours a week. So that's the balance, but it's a different way of earning money, and you have to really get your head around the reoccurring passive income type of way to earning money, as opposed to trading your time for money. And at some point you have to accept that that's the way it goes, and it's absolutely worth it. So those 154 one-to-ones, and then eventually people came back, those 7 said yes, and then we got to region exactly a year after that. So absolutely nothing for a year, not even one preferred client or customer. And then from that date to that day, a year later, I was a region. And from that date to that day, a year later, I was a nation. And then a few years after that, nations started promoting. And that's when it gets really exciting, when you see other people's lives change. So I just want you to know, from that person who was petrified to speak at my car presentation, so I had to have hypnotherapy to speak at my car presentation. So I've been 2 years in Arbonne at that point. So still, I'd done a lot of work and I changed a lot as a person, but I'd never done an event where I'd had to speak in front of people. And my car presentation 2 years later, 2 years and 2 months actually, was going to be the first thing that I had to speak at. And I can't tell you the fear, like I was just paralyzed. I said to Ian, there's just no way I can do it. I cannot speak in front of people. And he's like, right, you just say thank you for coming and tell a little bit about your story, then you can sit down and I'll do the rest. But just to do that, I had to have hypnotherapy for the 6 months building up to my car presentation. And even then I was bright red. It was horrendous. So I'm just trying to get across to you, the person that you see today, looked nothing like the person, even that I got to that I was when as an RVP. So I suppose what I'm highlighting to you is, if you want to create millions from this business, which is 100% possible, go to earningsarbon.com, but it's possible, you have to become a different person. So just have that acceptance of like, yeah, I'm going to have to grow, because who you are is what you've currently created with. That's what who you are is. You've got to the level that you've got with the skills that you've got, but more importantly, the person that you are. So to get to the next level of business, you have to grow in character and in leadership and in person. That's really what it looks like. So you might not know what that looks like yet. Don't worry about that too much, but just know I'm investing in me every single day. And people massively underestimate, and they hear it. So they think by hearing it, they think, oh yeah, I know that. But knowing it and doing it is two different things. So you might know that you need to do personal development every day, but do you do it every day with intention, not just ticking the box, but thinking, am I doing my affirmations? So you want to change your affirmations every couple of months. And affirmations are very simple, the way they work. Your subconscious mind doesn't know fact from fiction. So that's why hypnotherapy works. If you've ever seen anyone be hypnotized, all the hypnotist does is it relaxes the conscious mind and speaks to the subconscious mind. And that's why you see people like barking, like, thinking they're a dog. The hypnotist is like, you're a dog. And they're like running around stage barking. It's mental if you've ever seen hypnotherapy, but it will really make you believe in affirmations, because that's ultimately what they are. They're just telling your subconscious mind something long enough that it starts to believe it's a fact. And you can, for me, when I read that and I understood that that was just science, I was like, oh my goodness, I can become anything that I need to become, because I knew I wasn't confident enough. I knew I didn't have the self-worth. I knew I didn't think I was all the enoughs. So right now you've got, I'm not something enough. I'm not something enough. I'm not something enough. We've all got those limiting beliefs, but one, you have to change that to create more success. But the two, you can absolutely change any belief. So a big limiting belief for me, which is crazy, it's not really important in our, but I thought it was, is I'm not smart enough. I'm not intelligent enough, because my brother's a genius. So I grew up with someone who's always been like, God, your brother's so intelligent. And you might relate to some of these things, but I didn't do, like I always mentioned, I wasn't really good at school yet. I was like, yeah, I get that. And if you have intelligent siblings, oh my gosh, it's just a constant, oh my God, I've never been that intelligent. I'm just not good enough. So those things I had to let go of, and I had to start thinking, I've got different types of intelligence, and I'd affirm to myself, why I was worthy of success. And actually, you're worthy of success just because you're here, because you were born, you are worthy of anything you want in life. That's the reality, actually. But you can change those limited beliefs. So the first thing that if you want this, and it you might think, I'm just happy with a couple $100 extra a month, and that's absolutely fine. You might not want to commit to this. I'd do it anyway, because it's just good for life. It'll affect every single part of your life, your relationships as a parent, everything. It impacts every single area of your life. But do the daily personal development, ideally on a morning. And whatever it looks like to you, everyone has different routines. It doesn't matter, but it's whatever works for you and feels like it's making a difference. So it might be mindfulness, it might be prayer, it might be affirmations, it might be, I definitely do affirmations, visualization. So you can create yourself a vision video. So you've got clear images in your mind of what you want your future home to look like, what you want your future life to look like, trips you want to go on, experiences you want to have with your kids. You have to put that out there and think, I'm open to that all coming in. And if you're doing that every morning, trust me, things will start to change and reading a great book, and there's so many amazing books that you want to read. Read books on network marketing that build your belief in the industry, because that's really important too. Because what you'll get is a lot of people that don't understand this industry, and you have to know. I'm telling you, I can tell you after 17 years and after a lot of experience, and I invest in thanks to Arbonne, I own 7 homes that I rent out and increasing my portfolio of properties. I've invested in businesses, I invest in startups, and we've got another business that we run from home. There's so much stuff that I'm able to do because of Arbonne, but I can promise you, nothing can touch what this opportunity can give you. Don't feel like you have to waste your time trying, because I've also watched lots of people go away and do other things and come back to Arbonne and say, do you know what, on reflection, there's actually nothing like this. Nothing's easy. Nothing you're going to create that changes lives in your life is going to be easy, obviously. But this is 100% not only the best option, but the option that makes you become the best person you can possibly be in the process, which is the greatest gift. It really is. So nail your daily method of operation. That's what I would say, and be committed to doing what it takes. So people who get to the top 1%, which is obviously national vice president, which is hundreds and hundreds of people, by the way. So sometimes when you say that 1%, it obviously as well, our stats include people that sign up as ICs and never enroll one customer or one preferred client, which is a challenge because it really changes our averages. JD always says if we eliminate that part of the business, gosh, our averages would go up so much. So that never bothered me, to be honest. That thing of like 1% of people, I'd be like, I'll just be in the 1%, then I'll just do what 99% of people are willing to do. And let me tell you, it's not that much. There's a lot of very lazy people out there. There's a lot of people who just want something for nothing. There's a lot of people who just wish and dream, but actually they want comfort and they want to watch Netflix. If that's not you, I am so happy for you, because you can quite easily get into the top 1%. It's not rocket science. It's just every time you don't want to do something and it's a bit uncomfortable, just think, gosh, everyone else at this point would choose to do this. I'm going to choose to do that because that's what the 1% would do. That's really, it's that easy. That's how easy it is. So what that looks like is doing a bit more. So I know you all have full-time jobs, you've all got full-time families, so it's definitely not easy. So one thing you absolutely need to do and work on and master is become really committed to planning your time. So I am absolutely all over the place. This is one thing that's changed for me as well. When I started this business, I'm totally like, you know, like Dory on Nemo, where it's just like shiny thing, shiny thing. I'm just so the most distracted human on the planet. I really, really had to work on that. So if that is you and you're easily like, your head's like, oh that shiny, and you don't remember why you're walking through a room or I sometimes say a sentence and I don't know what I start the sentence as to finish it. So if that's your brain, know that you can still master time. It's totally possible. So my biggest tip to you is this: put in your alarm an alarm on your phone on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, maybe if you've got kids, when you've got the kids in bed or before, whenever, the time for you that'll work, where you sit down for 15 minutes and look at the week ahead and think, okay, this week, this is happening. When can I have time to build my Arbonne business? And when can I have time to do my personal development? So for most of us, it's getting up, if you've got kids, before the kids, or if you've got kids that go up about 5:30 like I have, then you have to figure out a routine. And there's always a way. I promise you there's always a way. But sometimes it's just a bit of like, how can this work? How can this work? Keep asking yourself the question, how can I make this work? So for my little girl, I'd have to do like a certain routine with like watch TV, set her all the breakfast, say to her like, okay, I've got my call for 30 minutes. And then after that, I am with you until you go to school. So over time, she's learned that that's just what I do. She's like, you're getting on your call, mummy. So we do Be Well in the UK from 6:30 till 7. So I get up at 5:30, spend some time with her, get her set up, like, I'm going to do my call now. So whatever it takes, there's a way, I promise. And you just got to keep persisting until you find the way. So what most people do, what the 99% of people do, is they go, oh, I can't make this work. This is too hard. Because you give up at the first few hurdles, but you just got, it's like a little river. A river's just find a way through. And that's all you've got to be. You've just got to keep going. I can't get through that way. Okay, I need to figure out a way, because the reality is we're all busy. We've all got busy lives. We've all got 10 priorities that need to come first. So to implement Arbonne and make it happen in your life, you've just got to keep going. That didn't work, find another way. Okay, that didn't work, find another way. So planning on a Sunday is the starting point. That's how you can think, okay, this week I'm going to do my Arbonne business from 3 till 4, from this time till this time, from this time to this time, from this time to this time. And keep persisting until if it didn't work. And then, really importantly, at the end of each day, for 5 minutes, that's all it needs to be. Again, set an alarm on your phone, 5 minutes, reflect back on the day and see why it didn't happen. So think, right, okay, if it didn't happen, if it did, give yourself a tick. If it didn't, think, why did that not happen? And a lot of the time, it's other people's demands that take us off our course. So a phone call is a demand for time. It's a request for time, sorry. A phone call is a request for time. It's not a demand. So it's your choice on what you choose to do with your time. So it's so easy to be like, oh, I just don't have time. You have the same 24 hours in your day as everybody else. It's how you choose to prioritize it is what makes a difference. So my point is why it's worth it and the vision for the future and where we're going. This is what I really want to share with you, because I'm in such a privileged position as where I've sat in 17 years, and I've been on the leadership council for the last, I think I was on Leadership Council for about 12 years of that 17 years. So Leadership Council, for those that don't know, is from each country, they have a representative. So I was a representative for the UK. There's one for New Zealand and Australia. There's one few for America. It's obviously a bigger market. And we all come on a call with the CEO and all the corporate team every single month from Arbonne, and talk about things that are happening, things that need to do, how we can become better, all that sort of stuff. And from my perspective, what I want you to know is the more you know about Arbonne, the better it gets. So why it's really important, if at some point you can commit to coming to Vegas or the big annual conference, is because you will see something that you can't really see where you currently are. And as your team grows and the business grows, you will see it more and more, and you can meet people on calls. But for me, one of the biggest things was in Vegas, hearing the stories and seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people walk the stage as an RVP. When I was a district manager, I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, there was only like 3 of us at that point in the UK that were RVPs. And I was like, this is not just the odd few that make this happen. This is actually so many people that have done this, all different kinds of people. So it really shifts your belief in knowing that it's possible. So what I want to tell you is that whatever you can dream and perceive, you can absolutely create in this business, but you have to be willing to do what 99% aren't willing to do. And it's not that much. It's not that much. That's what I really want you to know. But ultimately, it is worth it. So if I could say to you, give you my paycheck every single month, and I know Cecilia said this, I mean, we'd all have Cecilia's paycheck, let's face it, if we could, but even my paycheck, it's around 50, we're recording, but it's it's a lot of money. It's what most people, people's double annual salary is what I earn a month from Arbonne. So the average annual salary is double that, and that's what I earn monthly from Arbonne. So and to be fair, like, even if I didn't really do anything again for the rest of my life, my business is at a point where it will just continue to bring that volume in every single month. So do you think it was worth the first year of 154 no's? And do you think it was worth the challenges in these last few years? It's always worth it, because it's the freedom. It's the freedom. And how important is your life to you? Who do you want to spend it with? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? You have to think of that bigger vision, as opposed to just the next day, or what's convenient to you currently and what's comfortable. You have to really tell yourself, imagine 3 to 5 years from today, that I could leave the situation, the job that I'm in. I could change our family trajectory of our family life. And not only that, even when I'm not here, my business is in my will to my kids. They will continue to get probably that level of income for the rest of their living days. When you get your head around how enormous this opportunity is, you will never regret making short-term sacrifice, because if you do the work, it works. And it's worth it. It's so worth it. Like, my current circumstances, it shows to me every day. It's reflected to me every day. So my kids go to a really nice school that we pay for, and the other parents are at that school. There's one of 2 situations. Either you see the mum because the dad's at work full time and never sees the kids, and the mum's normally a stay-at-home mum. That's half of the class. And then the other half of the class is the doctors, solicitors, or high-flying corporate execs that never see their kids. They drop them off at 8 in the morning. Their nanny picks them up at 6 at night, and I'm there with the same income, if not more, and I'm able to take my kids to school every day, pick them up, be present with them from the moment they're home to the moment they go to bed, and then I build my own business when they're in bed at night time. There is nothing like this opportunity and what it can give you and your family and your future family. You definitely have to do the work, but you'll never regret that work, because not only for what it'll bring you, but also the person, like I say, that you become in the situation. You can do online courses and learn how to grow confidence, but there is only one way you will actually become that person. It's by doing the action that makes you that person. So for me, I had opportunities to get out my comfort zone, where I was petrified to speak, like at my car presentation. But what happens is, when you do something that scares you and you have to do it, and it's out of your comfort zone, you go to another level of human. Like, you just go to that next level of okay, I can deal with that. I can do it. I know I'm okay. I know I didn't die. And then you think, okay, I can do this. And you get a bit more confidence and a bit more belief and a bit more confidence and a bit more belief. And then people borrow that from you. And then you watch other people's lives change before you too. So I just want you to get excited for what you can create, first of all, and then the people that you can impact by being the example. So this is the reality. Until you start doing it, and most of the time start creating some sort of result, there'll be some people that just go on a leap of faith. And unfortunately, in the beginning, you've got to find those people that will come on a leap of faith with you because you haven't got the evidence. So you might find one or two that's the leap of faith that come with you. And then people will watch. I promise you, the more people you tell in the beginning, the better, because as soon as you've told them the full story and the full business presentation, they will watch like a hawk for the next year, probably 6 months to a year. And then they will start to see your results and then they'll jump on board with you. But it's sometimes a lot of people need the evidence. That's just what it is. You are different. You just had to have a vision. And you need to find those people initially that can just go on your vision. And that's why your vision has got to be so clear and unshakable. So those people around you that are telling you it'll never work, you have to get your blinkers on and say, it's fine that you don't see it. That was my parents, to be honest. It's fine that you don't see it. That's okay. I see it. I see it crystal clear. I know that this is going to work. I know it's going to change my life. I'm going for it. If you can't see that, that's fine. If you can, come with me. Either way, I'm doing it anyway. And if you get like that, I promise this business will work. If you don't quit, never quit on a bad day. That's rule number one. Read every single day, hold the vision, do your affirmations every single day, share the business with conviction and belief and vision, and people will catch that vision that you've got, I promise you. And then once you've got the vision, then you've got the evidence, then the whole flipping world joins in then. So after my second year, when I got my car, an influx of people that I'd spoken to for the last few years, like all these messages, I literally, it was just brilliant. It was a brilliant time. I had messages to my Facebook Messenger. I'd see one pop up. It's like, you told me about Arbonne 2 years ago. I'm like, yes, here comes another one, because they were just watching. And then all those people started messaging about. So never also think it's a waste of time when you've done a lot of presentations and you've not seen anything from it. It's just not happened immediately, but it will. You will always see results from action that you've done at some point. It's the law of average. So if you've done 100 presentations, if you haven't, that's your number one objective, first and foremost. I need to speak to 100 people as soon as humanly possible. That's your first. Don't care about the result. Don't care if they're going to join you, watch you, whatever. Doesn't matter. That's completely separate. You have to do the presentations. And by doing that, you'll become excellent at the skills. But if you've not done 100 one-to-ones yet, there's not even a discussion of anything. You've just not done enough yet, that's all. But if you have done 100 one-to-ones, then just keep ticking along and be patient, because 10 of those people will start at some point. That's just the law of average. Out of every 10 people, one person will join. If you get really good at the skills and who you become in your conviction, your confidence, your peace, your strength of character, it'll become more like 5 to 7 out of 10. And that's why the personal development is so important too. And that's it. That's just facts. So I hope that's been helpful. Scoot off to my personal trainer now. She's waiting for me at the gym, because we thought this call was earlier, didn't we? We thought we're going to be 7:30. It's actually 9:30 here.
Yeah, we've both had change of time zones, so it actually worked out really well on your end.
It did. Yeah, apart from I'll leave now for the gym. But thank you so much. So nice to see all your faces. Lovely to meet you. Go for it. Have utter faith that this business can change your life, because that's the only time it doesn't work, when you sort of half in and half out. If you're still hanging on to the edge of the swimming pool and everyone else is like spinning around and going for it and you're watching, just get in the swimming pool and get carried along with the momentum and just stop caring what other people think. That's the number one reason that you're not going to achieve your dreams and goals ultimately in Arbonne, is if you let other people's opinions stop you taking action. And how flipping sad is that? Because trust me, they will not be at your funeral. They won't care. They won't pay your mortgages. They're not going to pay your mortgage. They're not going to look after your kids. You can love them. It's not that they don't love them and respect them. You can love those people, but don't let people's opinions take you out of your track to your goals and your vision of your future life. Get clear on that. Know that this is the vehicle. Do the work, and just let everyone else have their opinion. That's fine. It's not yours. You know where you're going. That's really it.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your time.
All right,
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Lovely to see you all. Oh, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.